When you're not looking for a man, somehow you get two.
Dad!
One is your ex-husband.
I need you here with me.
The other, your ex-boss.
Come on, let's put the band back together.
And he has
There you are, baby.
a fiancé.
Ex-fiance.
Shut the front door.
When love gets messy,
Listen to me, Maddie.
what's a girl to do?
Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater just yet.
Essence Atkins and Stephen Bishop star in Coins for Love, a TV One original movie. Premieres Sunday, July 19th at 9 on TV One.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today for the Coins for Love virtual media teleconference. My name is Shemaya Holloway. I am the Director of PR for TV One, and I will serve as today's moderator. We have a stellar lineup, and without further delay, I would like to introduce you to our esteemed cast and creative team. Please welcome Essence Atkins, who plays Madison. We have Stephen Bishop, who plays Alec. Karan Joseph Riley, who plays Jake. And last but not least, T.C. Carson, who plays Hank. And please also help me welcome the members of the creative team. We have Jason Ryan, who is TV One's executive producer in charge of production. Susan Banks, the writer. We have director Jamal Hill. And last but not least, Keith Neal, producer of Swirl Films. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for taking time out today. I want to open it up, first of all, to everybody. I want to know how you all have been holding up during these unprecedented times. Let's start with Essence.
Hi, I can't see you all, but I just want to say thank you so much for your time and for joining us for Coins for Love. How have I been? I think I've been a myriad of things. Mostly, I'm happy to report I've been healthy. So I'm grateful for that, and my family's healthy. Couple scares. My dad had COVID. He was diagnosed on Easter Sunday with COVID-19, and I was quite alarmed and worried because he's in New York. Thankfully, he's fine. He recovered. He didn't need hospitalization. So I'm really, really grateful. But, you know, I think that we are adjusting. I'm grateful to be an artist. I think that helps us. We're used to kind of having to adjust. We're used to instability. We're used to long periods of home and not working. I think it kind of makes us more adept at not having a structure. We work well in kind of tumultuous, I'm home one day and the next day I'm on a plane somewhere thousands of miles away from my family. So I think that to a certain extent, artists have an advantage in that their lifestyle is mercurial anyway. So I think it's helped prepared for times such as this, believe it or not.
Stephen Bishop, same question. How are you holding up during these unprecedented times?
Well, I think I'm holding up as well as can be expected. I believe that my family has remained healthy for the most part. I think that we had a couple people have COVID early on in the process. We haven't been tested, but you know, the symptoms were all there. I believe I actually had it while we were filming Coins for Love. When I got to Atlanta, you know, we flew in the 25th of January, and by the 3rd of February, I was just floored in my hotel room. Unfortunately, I had like an 8-day window between shoot dates where I was completely quarantined in my room. And this was before the quarantine was mandated, but I just couldn't go anywhere. I didn't feel like going anywhere. I had all the symptoms, including the shortness of breath and the night sweats and all of that kind of stuff. And I had a flu test and it was negative. So I'm pretty sure I had it. I still have to get the antibody test. So that's been, you know, other than that, you know, it's been pretty good for my family. We haven't had anybody fall ill. But more importantly, with what's going on with the social justice fight right now in the country, that's affected me a lot more than I think the COVID-19 has. You know, I've been, for a long time, if you follow me on any of my social media platforms, I've been a social justice warrior, and to see the multitudes of people starting to come out and voice their frustration and their support for our movement has been extremely heartwarming for me. It's still extremely disheartening that this continues to happen, and you know, in the course of less than a month and a half, we saw 3 or 4 people succumb to the police brutality or racism brutality with Ahmaud Arbery. So it's been a kind of a roller coaster ride emotionally for me, but for the most part, I can give thanks that my family's healthy, and I have a 13-year-old son who's actually learning a lot from what's going on with the social justice fight. So it's been, for the most part, positive.
Well, no, thank you, and I'm glad to hear that your family and you are healthy. TC Carson, I'm going to throw it to you. Same question. Please share how you're holding up.
Time. Hey, everybody. It's been an interesting time. Being at home alone has been challenging. You know, I grew up as an only child, so I'm used to being by myself, but it was a choice. And now I am mandated to stay away from people. And, you know, since February, I've seen like maybe a handful of friends, and I can only imagine what that distancing is doing to somebody who is not as active as myself, somebody who is an elderly person who doesn't get many visitors, you know, anyway. So I understand everybody's frustration right now about what's going on, but I don't understand why it's so hard for people to put a mask on. I don't understand why that's such an ask for somebody, when it is the simplest thing to do to be able to curb the spread of this disease, and people don't want to do it. It's mind-boggling to me. So I'm keeping my high-risk butt in my low-risk house. That's what I'm doing.
Well, thank you, TC. Karan Joseph Riley, same question.
We've been managing. We got young kids in the house, so that's been a bit of a different challenge for Terry and I. Just like Essence says, we're artists, so we used to adjusting and being nimble on our feet in times of change. So for us, it's been a lot of chess for us. I got a lot of trampolining in with the kids. Actually might have jacked my neck up doing that, but you know, it's memories that my daughter have forever, so it's worth it. Like Steven said, we really been working really hard to turn this into a positive situation for us. And of course, with the social justice, racial climate that is piled on top of the COVID, it's made me tired, just physically and spiritually as a man, a Black man at that. So for me, it's been really about maintaining my spirit, my energy, and just really trying to stay away from pressure words like fear and anxiousness and those type of things. Just trying to keep my energy, you know, basic, nice and even. Been getting a lot of writing done, trying to stay as creative as possible during this time, and that's been in and out. But other than that, like Esther said, our family's healthy. All of my, you know, close people to me are healthy, so I'm not complaining. I'm just, you know, I feel the pain and the energy of the world as well. A lot heavier than most people. I know most of us on this call are very creative and spiritual people, so we feel it. So it's just been a wait. But other than that, you know, any day above ground is a great day. So we just keep pedaling towards the future.
All right, thank you. So now I'm going to kick it over to our creative team, starting with Jamal Hill.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me. So, no, to answer your question, just to ring true to what everybody else was saying, just trying to get a retooling of my mind. And what I believe was important in the past has changed in the future. And all the other things is just finally getting a chance to do some things I normally wouldn't be able to do, like reading, a whole lot of reading and looking inwards and being able to hang out with my family more than I ever have, because I spend a lot of time on the road, you know, filming. So overall it's been positive, but eye-opening at the same time, you know. But yeah, that's kind of where I've been doing.
All right, thank you. Susan Banks, same question.
Hi, everyone. I have, as a writer, I have been able to spend the time and, channel all of my emotions and feelings about everything into some things that I've been wanting to have time to write for a very long time. I feel that I have a lot of anger inside as to what is happening, because I feel like none of it absolutely has to be happening right now. It really shouldn't be happening right now, but it is, and it's changed all of our lives. But then I look at all the good things that have come from it, and most importantly, I think young people have found their passion, and they are working towards changing this world. And I think that that has got to be the most positive outcome that we can see out of all of it, amidst the tragedy. There are positive things that will come out of it, and that gives me some feeling of courage and heart and energy to keep going on. But I'm like TC, staying home, staying out of trouble. That's about it.
Well, thank you, Susan. Jason.
Hello, everybody. I echo what the others have said. I just want to add from my perspective, just as a storyteller and as a creative, I am using this time to really evaluate how I'm contributing to the much needed change that this country needs to see. And this year pretty much exposed everything wrong with our country on a global level. And, after the anger and the disappointment and disgust, I have to channel that energy into my platform and how I can use my voice and my skills and my talents to help contribute to the change that is much needed. And just, I have to just, in order to keep from going crazy and snapping, I have to channel that energy, but also remain hopeful that, all of the things that are happening around the country and around the world will actually help contribute to some real change. Because, a lot of us have seen similar situations in our lifetimes. Our parents definitely did, their parents. But I just try to remain hopeful that with, all of the attention that is on us on a global level, that we actually will see some real change. And I will, do whatever is best in my power to actually help make sure that I'm contributing to that.
Thank you, Jason. And finally, Keith.
I'm holding up pretty well. I don't take for granted now my health and strength due to the COVID situation. And as it pertains to the social justice, me as a filmmaker and a producer, I'm trying to come up with ways to get new stories out and to educate our young people and other people that were not educated. Because a lot of, from what I'm seeing is the other races really didn't know. So now it's time to tell some other stories so they can be aware.
Keith, as a refresher, can you give our audiences a quick synopsis of Coins for Love and how it differs from Coins for Christmas?
Sure. This is our second installment. I would say this is a lighthearted family drama played by our lovely Essence Atkins, who plays the role of Madison, and Stephen Bishop, who our lead plays Alec. I would say the first time around, they were trying to find their way, trying to find jobs and job security. And I think with this one, the missing element, what they found was love. Again, the first time around, they were just trying to find a better way. And here it is in this one, they're finding love.
Okay. Thank you. All right, Essence, this question is for you. So your character, Madison, seems to juggle more in this film. How would you describe Madison's character?
Madison is a mother. She is a servant. She definitely holds the posture of wanting to serve her community, serve her family, and serve the world. I mean, she's an aspiring editor, and in this installment, she's just started working at a publishing company, and her job is really to be of service to one of the lead editors at this company, and she's juggling that along with trying to make sure that all the bills are paid and that she is taking care of and mentoring her children and fostering their growth and betterment. And at the same time, she's also trying to find, as Keith said, she's also trying to find her way personally. And there's a lot to Madison. There's a lot in Madison that I relate to, having had and occupying those roles myself, both as a mother and as a person who works, and also in my own personal life. So that's where we find Madison in the bulk of this is, new things. She still has to juggle the responsibility of being a mom and the primary parent for her children's care, but also a new job, and also where her own needs, desires kind of come into that, and if there's any space for that at all.
Okay. All right. This next question is for Stephen. Stephen, the audience sees a transformation in Alex's character from when we first met him. What can we expect from your character in Coins for Love?
Well, Alec, as you said, has had a bit of a transformation, and it's pretty much solely to the influence of Madison in Coins for Christmas. He, has always been a very self-serving and, self-assured, but self-serving is a better word for it person. He's very much concerned with the way things look and the way he is perceived and what he's being given for his efforts. And in Coins for Christmas, we saw him start to learn to give to other people and put his efforts towards making other people happy. And in this film, I think we see Alec a little bit more humble and a little bit, he continues the journey of trying to do things for others. He's still got a little residual old Alec in him, which, Madison and Hank have to continue to, squeeze the last little bits out of him. But he really makes a connection with Madison, and he starts to really care about her feelings, and by extension other people's feelings. And he starts to really want to exhibit that kind of an outlook in life at this point. He's starting to really come into his own as a man instead of just as a post-adolescent athlete, So I think that the transformation of Alec comes almost to completion in this film.
So that's a great segue to my next question, Stephen. You kind of touched upon it. So I want to ask, you and Essence, how does your dynamic between your two characters change in Coins for Love? You spoke to it a little bit, Stephen. Essence, can you expound on that, please?
Sure. As Stephen said, you see a friendship budding. You see an ability, and in the friendship, Madison has always been a person, we saw in Coins for Christmas, that she's very adept at expressing herself. She loves words, she loves books, and she's a great communicator. But I think that in this, further along in this journey, Alec and Madison have become friends, and there is definitely a mutual respect. There's less, her guard is less up. she's definitely more available to him and has a better appreciation for him and feels more comfortable in kind of teasing him. There's a more of a playfulness between them, which I really love, where they kind of call each other out on their things. And you see the buddings of romance. You see the buddings of question marks between them, of what is the potential and the possibility. And it's one of the things that I love, because I think there's such value in, this is, kind of a macro statement, but I think there's such value in friendship before romance.
I agree with Essence on that. There's the playfulness is there, and there's also, Madison has more comfort now telling Alec the truth. Where in Coins for Christmas, she was more of an employee. She was kind of apprehensive about speaking her mind and telling Alec about himself. But in this one, because they've been working together for so long, and he's come back and asked her to, work some more, she's gotten comfortable with, telling Alec the truth, and the honesty that she exhibits when confronting Alec with his own shortcomings. I think that honesty lends itself to Alec realizing that, wow, this is a real person. This is somebody who finally isn't just doing what I'm telling them to do. They're actually telling me how I can be better. And when I step out of line, she's telling me how I stepped out of line and how I can get back into line. And I think that is one of the things that really makes Alec respect Madison, which in turn, clearly she's a beautiful woman. She's extremely intelligent. So the respect that he starts to gain starts to make him be like, wow, man, this is a really intriguing and beautiful person. And that, I think that's what really opens his heart to her.
Okay. All right. And Karan, this is for you. So viewers, we see a little bit of more of Jake in Coins for Love as he resurfaces in Madison's life. Can you talk about and describe his intentions?
Yeah, Jake in this movie is winning. He, his career is kind of taking off. We saw him in Coins for Christmas, being a struggling producer, trying to get his dreams off the ground. And we find Jake now, dreams are floating a little bit. He's feeling himself. So he's coming back and see if he's hot everywhere. If he can get his family back and his girl back and have his career rolling and have his cake and eat it too, that's exactly where Jake is at. So his intentions, again, people might see Jake's intentions of being a little shady at times, but for the most part, Jake is just really a guy who sees clouds all the time, never can lock into the real responsible side that a man needs to be able to lock into. So Jake is just really trying to see if he's really as hot as it seems. So he's just, hitting a few jumpers early. Let's see if I can hit him from here too. Let's just keep doing them,
All right. Well, thank you for that. And now I want to toss it over to T.C. Carson. What inspired you to rejoin the cast in Coins for Love?
So which answer you want, darling? You want the PC answer, you want the real answer? Which one you want?
I want the authentic T.C. Carson answer.
The check. It was the check. It was the check and an opportunity to work with people I had worked with before that I knew, that I enjoyed working with, but like right now, we want to work. Everybody on this panel right here, all these actors, we're good. We want to work. It's more about the work than it is about the money. The money's good. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. But it really is about the work, getting a chance to work with like-minded individuals and, good crew and good actors. So that was one of the things that drew me back to it, along with the check.
Well, we're happy that you rejoined. I'm going to turn it over to the creative team. This question is for you, Jamal. What was it like to reunite with the cast, and what was your vision for the sequel?
Well, first off, I love the cast. That's probably the main reason that I had so much fun on this project between Essence and Steven and TC and just everybody who's involved. I just felt an automatic friendship with these people, and to come back again, it was a blessing. But my vision, so here's the deal. Every time I direct a movie or a show or whatever the case is, my first order of operation is to figure out what the theme is. So once I came up with my own theme of how I saw the movie, I came up with the idea. It was becoming your best self, especially Alec in relationship with Madison. So once I came up with that idea of becoming your best self, I had to start working on what the internal movement was about. And then it was easy. It became, how do you go from working together, friends, to potentially lovers? So I just kept that in the forefront. And it was the same kind of procedure when I dealt with every character, because it's a true ensemble piece. And with ensembles, you have to take care of everybody equally. And I always wanted to do my version of what I thought the Cosby Show would look like in a kind of a realistic setting. And I use this as the vehicle to do my variation of that, you know.
Okay. And then to our fabulous writer, Susan Banks, how does it feel seeing your story come into fruition?
Well, it's always a real thrill to see the words you thought about coming out of the mouths of talented people like this cast. I mean, they brought so much more life to it, so much more energy to it, and they're just fantastic. So that was thrilling. But the challenge was that I didn't create these characters. I came in to do a sequel. And so the good part was that I had their images and their voices in my head when I wrote it. But the challenge was, how do I take it to the next level to make it still as interesting and give the audience that satisfaction of seeing them get back together again, or seeing them get together. And, you know, that part was challenging, but it was a lot of fun, and it was great to see it all come together. I mean, Karan brought so much passion to his part of being a terrible man, and Essence and Steven were just beautiful. I know that's part of the charm that Mrs. Hughes saw in them that she loved. And TC, just bring the voice, that's all, just bring that voice. So it was just an honor and a joy to be able to work with them.
All right, so I'll ask one final question at the end, but I do want to take this time to open up the floor to members of the press for questions. Press, please use the raise the hand button located on your screen to be submitted into the queue to ask a question.
Good afternoon, can you hear me? Okay, this question is for Essence. First of all, I want to tell all of you I've watched the preview and the movie. I loved it. I love a good love story. But when Essence's character goes back to her ex-husband, I was like, what are you doing? Back to him. And when he disappointed her, I was like, see, I knew it was going to happen. So my question for you, Essence, is have you ever gone back into something, doesn't necessarily have to be a relationship, but gone back into something and you knew deep down it wasn't right? And, you know, how did you handle that and pivot from that? Like, just kind of like Madison, she just kind of pivot and went back in the right direction. So how did you do that in real life?
Oh my gosh, yes, I've done that in relationships. I've done that in all kinds of arenas. And, you know, thankfully, you learn by the error. You learn by the consequence of it, you know. And fortunately, as I matured, it wasn't necessary to have to go through the pain of things again, that I could preemptively see signs more and as you said, make a pivot. But I have absolutely, when I was younger, gone and done things that my instinct, my spirit knew were like not the right thing. And, you know, there's this ego that will be activated. There's pride that will be activated. There's, kind of a disobedience, that sometimes a hard-headedness that will be activated. And, now that I'm a mother, you get to see those things in your kids. And, but what's beautiful is there's the way that God designed life is that there's still benefit from those moments. You can still benefit if you love through them, and if you have guidance around you, you can still see and extract lessons. And I think that's what Madison has done. She extracts the lessons, and yes, she definitely gives opportunity and opens herself up to be vulnerable and possibly hurt again. But I know for me, as Essence, and I think Madison has a little bit of this, I don't like what ifs. I don't like to live in a place of like, what if I had tried? I'd rather try and fail than walk around and have this question looming. That's just my personality. I don't mind failure. I don't mind falling down, because I know I have what it takes to get back up.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Well, hello. I guess I can start. Hi, this is Catori Langley of Tori Talk with Catori Langley. So excited to be talking to you guys today. Thank you so much for the preview. It was so good. I'm a Christmas movie fanatic. So when I saw there was going to be a second one, I was like, yeah, so excited. But my question I have right now today is for you, Essence. In both movies, Madison was like such a hard worker, and she was constantly trying to teach her kids, the importance of the dollar. I would say like both earning it as well as saving it. My question is, with everything that's going on in the Black community today, how important do you think it is to teach, financial literacy and the importance of the Black dollar on the economy?
Oh my gosh, it's so critical. I mean, we have this misconception that change came strictly from protests. Change also came from our economics. The Montgomery boycott, really, the bus boycott really became a matter of that company going bankrupt, because that's how committed we were to not spending our money in a way where we weren't going to be treated equally. I think it's critical. It's absolutely critical that we exercise all the spending power. I mean, so much of television and film is unbeknownst to us, is catered to us because of how we consume, because of the loyalty that we have in our spending. And so if we take possession and allocate those funds towards Black businesses, and also we withhold our funds from places that don't support us, that aren't about BLM, that aren't giving us opportunities, that do have glass ceilings, there is a great power to contend with in our economic power and prowess. So I think it's really important that that becomes something. I mean, I wish it was mandated in schools, but the structure of our school is still very antiquated, in my opinion. So I think it's really upon us as Black people to teach our children the importance of how to spend, how to save, where to spend, where to save, credit, all of those things, FICO scores. I think it's really important that we understand, because that's where the power comes from, really. The power structure is based in economics. And the reason that it is so greatly and the majority power holders are white men is because they have been at the top rung from an economic standpoint. There's a direct correlation. So I think that it's really important that we learn that there is power in our dollars, and there's power on when and how we spend them, and as well as where we don't spend them and when we withhold them.
Thank you so much. Perfect answer. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Cindy Davis of the Cindy Davis Show. Okay, my question is to Susan Banks. Hi, Susan. In the movie, you touched on Black Lives Matter. throughout the dialogue with the sports host. And just want to know, did you have to go back and rewrite that, or was that already implemented into the movie?
Well, I did do an update as we got closer to shooting it, and as things were changing a little bit. Of course, it was nothing like what it is right now. You know, Black Lives Matter was nowhere near at the importance level that it has gotten to in the last month. But I felt strongly that it was still important and an important issue. And so I'm so glad that I was able to touch on that.
I am too. Thank you for your answer.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. So my question is for Stephen. So Stephen, in the movie, you had a situation where your ex-fiance, she comes back in the picture, and you basically have a moment where you feel like she doesn't understand you as a Black man. So my question for you is, with an interracial couple, when do you think that conversation should be had about how they feel about race relations? Because just because you're in an interracial relationship doesn't mean you can relate to everything that person is going through. So when do you think that couple should have the hard conversation about how they feel about race relations?
Well, I think it's a fluid situation. I think that, you know, you should be talking about those types of situations when you're just becoming friends before you get into a serious relationship, to see how that person's outlook relates to your outlook on the subject. But I think as you evolve as a couple, when situations arise, there's always an opportunity for a teaching and a learning experience, as well as being able to learn how to empathize with the other person that you're in a relationship with. I do want to give a shout to Lisa Wilson, who plays Shelly in the film. She does a fantastic job. And she does a great job of conveying the lack of understanding that so many people experience when they're in that type of a situation. But I really think that when difficult situations arise, if you're in a good relationship, you will be able to discuss them, and people will be open-minded about understanding that they may not know about the other person's experience, and be willing to learn about that experience, and then take on that fight with their partner, because you love that person, and you want to see that person and their people feeling whole. You know what I mean? So I think it's a very fluid situation. I think it happens from the beginning, or at least it should. I don't think you should get into a situation where you find yourself 2 or 3 years in and you haven't learned how your person that you're with feels about, you know, your experience or what's going on in the world around them. You don't know how, if they agree with your stance or disagree with your stance. You don't know if they minimize your concerns, or they take your concerns to heart as much as you do. So I think that's something that should start early, but I think it's constantly evolving, and it's something that, you know, when the grits hit the fan, you don't want to be in a situation where you haven't already tested the climate. You know what I mean? I think it's something that you should go with from the beginning.
Okay, thank you. It's a good answer.
Good afternoon, everyone. Glad to see that everyone's doing well. This question is actually for Susan and also maybe for Keith. I noticed that this is the second iteration of the story. The way that you ended it, it looks like there may be a third installment to this. Is that always, I guess, Susan, as the writer, is that always the intention? Or Keith, it's kind of a two-parter. Is it almost like when you bring them the story production, you may say, well, you know what, there's actually more than just one story in this. Is that always the intention, or did you just come with the one story? Does that make sense?
We just love the cast. We love the storyline. I think this story can run forever. It's almost like a series. We can make it a series, but we just make it our own. Those guys and Susan comes up with ideas, and team writers, they come up with an idea to make everything happen. So if it works out.
I think when we went into it, we were thinking that we had two places to get to. We had places to get to that we couldn't get there in just one movie, and that there was so much to tell, and there were so many ways to go, and so many angles that we could play, that we should, pace it out, not rush it through, because there's so delicious characters. There's so much richness in them. There's so much music to play. And so we decided to just take our time and tell the story and feel each beat and get us there. And yes, there is another sequel coming. And I don't know, was I supposed to tell that? I don't know, guys. But there is another sequel coming, and it is even more delightful, as you might imagine. And there's even more drama and excitement and romance. And, Karan, you're not nearly as horrible as you were the first time. So, but it's a lot of fun. And the characters, as Keith said, could live on, could just keep living.
Thank you very much, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I am Shanita with Trendsetters to Trendsetters Magazine in Atlanta, Georgia. And first of all, I want to say thank you so much for this great opportunity. I really enjoyed the preview. I didn't get a chance to see the first one, so I had to go back and kind of recap on that. But what I do like out of this particular film here is that the portrayal, and this is more for the creative group, the portrayal of the various types of love. I know it's coins for love, but I don't know if you were trying or knew that it would kind of weave itself that way, that we see the love, the type of love it should be between Madison and Alec, and the type of love we shouldn't have between Madison and Jake, but also the love between the siblings. How Chloe protected her brother, even though she didn't know why he was taking the coins, and her brother also taking coins because he loved a girl. So was it intentional to weave all these type of positive love aspects while at the same time sharing what it shouldn't be?
Well, I'll answer. I'll say that when you see Black stories being told, so many times you don't get all the levels. You don't get all the variety. You don't get all the nuances. You don't get all of the essence of where, it comes from and the heart of it all. And so it was a real joy for me to live each one of their lives and go along their path and feel the love that they felt in a realistic way. I mean, I think that's the joy of writing, is that you get a chance to experience each character's perspective. And so, yeah, I think the title is because there is that much love on so many different levels, and we don't often get a chance to see that. There's so many times we don't get to see that in stories about Black people and Black families, and see all the levels and all the movement and all of the passion that comes from them. I mean, even Jake's character is, loving in his own way. He just, I think you can walk away still caring about him as well. Even though he's a big jerk, you still kind of can see why and care about him too. And, Stephen, Alec's character, he's been difficult all along. He's been difficult, hard to love maybe even, but lovable still, and that's the joy of finding those things. And that's the beauty of a director like Jamal, who can get in there and find those moments and bring them out.
But thank you. I really, especially in lieu of what's going on right now, I think that's very important that we are seen finally as a culture that does know how to love. And the only reason why we're expressing the type of anger that we feel now is because we're not seen in those aspects. So I'm excited for everybody to see that. Thank you.
I hope everyone is doing great. Indeed, I can say this has been, I appreciate the opportunity to be a part of this interview. And the question, well, before I go into the question, I want to be able to say that I can relate a great deal to this sequel because I am an editor of a magazine, which is called Exposure Spotlight Magazine. So this question is going to be to Essence, because I find myself, of course, I don't have any little ones, but I do find myself juggling a great deal, of course, you know, with work and doing other things as well. And of course, to keep the magazine going. But I wanted to ask Essence, the question would be, with her everyday job that she has as being an actress, period, how does she find it to relate in her everyday life in some form or fashion? I'm sure being able to play the part Madison, you were able to find it in some kind of way that it relates to your everyday life. So can you answer that for me?
I want to understand. I want to make sure that I understand the question. So are you asking if I could find parallels between my life and Madison's in terms of the work-life balance?
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I don't think that I don't think any of us as artists can really do a character justice and tell a story well if there's not a part of us that is 100% empathetic to where our character's perspective is. We have to be able to empathize. We have to be able to see and adapt how it is they got there. And for Madison, the leap between Essence and Madison wasn't that big. I don't have a 9-to-5, but I do have a son, and I do run my household, and I am a single mother. I'm fortunate enough to have a ex-husband who is definitely not the kind of in and out parent that Jake is. My ex-husband is very present in my son's life, and we co-parent very well together, and he's 100% committed to our son. But I do understand the dynamics and the challenges that come with being in the home alone with your child. Oh my goodness, excuse me, my apologies. No, someone called. I don't know who. Someone called in the middle of my answer, so my apologies. I'm on my phone. But yeah, I think when you read a script, any script, whether it be Coins for Christmas, Coins for Love, or any project that I've done, I've had to ask the question whether or not I understood the character's behavior and understood their point of view, and if I could, oh my gosh, my bad, sorry guys, I don't know, I think it's a sales call, believe it or not. But I think you have to start with the premise that you can connect to the character and where they are in their life, and I definitely understand the challenge of trying to wrestle the responsibilities of wanting to be there and care for your family, but also the aspiration of following a dream like you are with your magazine. Madison's dream of one day being an editor requires sacrifice, not just her own, but a sacrifice from her children as well.
Okay. Well, awesome. Thank you so much for that. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Okay, how y'all doing? Yeah, I was a little anxious there, but my question is, it's one thing to write a book, and it's one thing to be part of a successful script. I know that T.C. Carson was talking about he enjoyed the coins that he did for doing Coins for Love. However, there has to be a certain amount of gratification that comes with a movie, a project, a vehicle that resonates with the audience so much that they scamper and that they want a sequel, another iteration of it. So I just wanted to know from anyone in the audience, anyone on the screen, to answer the question of what does that feel like to be part of something that resonates so well and gets into the soul of our people that they want to see another one and they want to see more and more of it. What is that feeling like? What does that gratification feel like? Anyone can answer that.
I'll start. That's a great question, because it's not every time that you do something like this that you do get to make a second pass at it. So to be a part of a cast and a crew and a creative team that makes something that, as you said, resonates to the point where they want to see more is very, very satisfying. It allows you to gain, I read something today about putting money in the confidence bank. It allows you to gain confidence in what you're doing as an actor. I'm sure it allows TV One to gain confidence with the programming that they're putting out, swirl with the things that they're choosing to do. And I think everybody, I can't obviously speak for everybody, but I know that everybody wants to be a part of something that there's another and another and another, because it means it was good, and it means people really liked it, and they voiced their opinion, and the people that paid for it liked it enough to pay for it again. So I think it's extremely satisfying as a creative, and even as just a person, to be able to put your work out there and have people say, you know what, that's great work, can you do it again? And get the challenge to be able to make that same resonation happen a second time. So that's how I feel about it.
For me, to be a part of a project that can be ongoing, we see us do a lot of one-offs. We see us do a lot of movies where you enjoy it and then you don't see those people again. But you look at Woody Allen and he uses the people over and over. He uses his cast. They use the people that work with them, that work well with them. So it's great to be a part of this group of people, to know that we all work well together and we can crank out really good quality material for us, by us. And that's what's really important, to see our stories told through our lenses and our eyes.
Is it possible to get a word from Mr. Karan? He looking so cool, just leaning back in the vehicle.
Yeah, I'm in transport, kind of like Beyonce and Jay-Z, how they roll. You know how we do. But seriously, I second everything that Steven and TC said. It's gratifying to be a part of a cast that wants to do it again, over and over again. Like I said, when you have fun doing things with people you love, you never have to work a day in your life. So for us, it was, to get the call back to do it again. Us as artists all have a responsibility to our culture and to the people, our people, to show stories that resonate with us. So for us, it's like, we get to put on our little superhero outfits and go out there and do our thing, and that's big for each. I know everybody on this call personally, and I've had multiple conversations with everybody, so I understand it all means the same to, I know how Steven feels about it. I know how TC, Essence, everybody, we all, it's good to be wanted and it's good to be needed, and it's also good to be able to come together and pull it off every time. It's kind of like the Bulls, we come together and we get championships, baby.
If I could chime in for a hot second. Yeah, Karan hit it on the nail. I was watching The Last Dance, and you don't always get a last dance in this business. I can't even remember the last time a romantic comedy got a sequel. That's usually reserved for like sci-fi or something like that. But to get a urban romantic comedy as a sequel and then potentially the third, it's unheard of. So that alone speaks to the work effort that we all put into this. We all, from Essence on down, from Swirl to TV One, everybody looks at this project in high regard. I'm glad to be a small part of the process. And if we do it again, I promise to do my best again.
Well, I thank you all for for answering my question. Thank you very much.
Yep. Hi, everybody. This is Yannicka with TV One Publicity. Hello. So I had a question on behalf of the network, actually. So I wanted to ask, since this is a feel-good movie, also Coins for Christmas, for press who didn't get a chance to see it, I definitely suggest to go see it on VOD. It's online. You can watch it full there. So go watch Coins for Love or Coins for Christmas. But my question is for TC and Karan. So what message of hope do you have for our fans during this time in our nation's history? What do you think they can get from Coins for Love?
It's a love story. And I think part of the reason why we are where we are in this country is because that part of us has been pushed aside for money. This country doesn't deal with love like it used to. It doesn't deal with taking care. We're so used to being on our phones and being so myopic in our view that we don't really think about the love that we need to push out. And this movie, before, like somebody else had asked, there are several different layers of love in this movie. And to see a movie where you see Black people displaying this kind of love, it can only be helpful for us in this time period, we need to understand that we will take care of ourselves. We do love ourselves. We do love our families and our communities in spite of what is being told to us. And so we need films like this. And I think it's a very timely movie.
DC is they for my daughter and my son and 10 million other daughters and sons to see that maybe in the fact my wife doesn't work out. It's not because of violence or philandering or all the other multitude of things that they try to tag us with, as opposed to, man, Jake just really out here trying to get his dreams and everything. It's not a total loss. And even with Alec, and he's a career guy. In Essence, she's a career woman. Everybody in this movie has a career and a dream and a passion, and it's all underlined with love. Again, it's all love, and love is what really needs to be really pushed into the atmosphere, especially when it relates to us as being Black people in this country. We just really have to find a way to love ourselves first, and not be afraid to love our brothers and sisters the same way we love ourselves.
Yeah, no, so it's a really good question, because one of the things that has been on my mind and my heart since all this has taken place is how we live in such a capitalistic society. And once I read the screenplay, the title was so powerful, Coins for Love. And I talked to the cast about that. I equated to money. What it actually really means is money for love, right? So each character had a huge, their trajectory was money orientated. And that's kind of synonymous with what's going on in society, especially in my household. I used to be so money orientated just because to try to live at a standard of United States living, like what we consider the standard of living just comfortably here. And that shouldn't be the case. I think, like everybody else said, TC and Karan, is the standard should be love first, right? So you put that first, and everything secondary will take care of itself. And that's probably the biggest lesson I've been learning over these last few months. And I hope that this movie can speak to that.
Thanks, Jamal. Jason or Keith or anybody else who wants to answer that question. I know we have I think 2 more questions from press, but want to get everybody in.
Yeah, I'll just add that it was touched on a lot, but one thing that as far as like a message of hope, I think what this movie did was do a good job of showing that not all Black people live the same and have the same experiences, and we're able to, there's a authenticity in this where you see, and Karan touched on this earlier, where you see the flaws of all the characters, but you also see what makes them special, and that's real life. And I think from a hope perspective, seeing a movie like this will help people not feel so much pressure to always have to be perfect all the time. Like earlier, Jamal made a comparison to the Cosby Show, and the Cosby Show for the most part was like, sometimes they were too perfect, like it was a great show, but sometimes they're too perfect. But I think with this, you give that extra layer to see these characters at their downside and their high side. It does bring a realistic, authentic approach that can help some people feel better about their own flaws. So yeah, shout out to the team for helping with that message. Great job.
Thanks, Jason.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for taking the time out. What an awesome movie. I'm so happy there's another one coming. So my question is for Essence. 522 Culture, we're a faith-based movement pretty much for creatives, a faith-based platform. And I know recently you have been speaking out about your personal faith. And so the cool thing about you is I've watched you growing up, and I have a 7-year-old, and I showed her Smart Guy. I put her on to that show recently. And so when she saw me watching this to prepare for the interview, she was like, Mom, I know her from somewhere. She's from Smart Guy. And I think that's so cool that you've had this longevity in your career. I wanted to know, how has your faith, that personal relationship with God, played a part in your career through all these years, being able to maintain that longevity?
Well, I mean, when you delve into the relationship with God, and you learn about the importance of discipline, and you learn about the importance of commitment, and you learn about the importance of love, and you learn about the importance of showing up and being of service. I think that that can benefit every area of your life, not just your relationship with God, but it benefits your relationship with mankind. It benefits your relationship in your workspace. It benefits your relationship with your children. So to me, they are one and the same. I understand that when I show up on a project, I don't want you to know what my faith is based on what I tell you. I want you to be able to see the evidence of my commitment to be Christ-like based on my behavior, based on my professionalism, based on my excellence, based on my kindness, based on my preparedness, because I think that those tenets, the fruits of the Spirit, really become the fruits of your life. So I just feel grateful, as you said, because it's been a journey. I mean, life and the learning and the teaching and the delving into the Word, they've all it's become what was a little bouquet has become a significant garden, but it's been planted over time, and it's been patiently cultivated, and I think that that's part of the discipline of any pursuit, is the patience that is required to cultivate something that has a beautiful, blossoming, magnanimous imprint. So I'm grateful for the fact that I've had the opportunity to grow in front of people as an artist and as a person over the last 30 years. I mean, I am so grateful. Not just I'm grateful and reverent to God, but I'm also grateful to the audiences that have continued to invite me back again and again. And I'm grateful to the producers, because literally in the last probably 18, 19 years of my career, so much of the work that I've done has been repeat business. So I'm really grateful for that as well. I've been blessed with so many opportunities, and I'm grateful that I had the wisdom, that God gave me the wisdom not to squander them and not to take them for granted, and to remember the importance of what it is, the legacy that I leave, sometimes as the only Black or brown person invited into a space to work with a predominantly white cast or white crew or whatever. But I recognize that there is a responsibility on me to make sure that if I am invited into those spaces, that I'm creating an impression that is also going to dismantle the prejudices that exist in that space.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. It's a great movie.
Thank
you.
I'm Willie Mae McIver. I've got a syndicated gospel music radio show called Beyond the Praise. And my question is for Susan. Susan, there are lots of levels and dimensions in the movie for love. How challenging was it for you to kind of balance love with all the different dynamics of the characters that were in the movie and tie all of that into love, and have there be teachable moments of the different dimensions of love throughout the movie?
Well, I think once we decided on the title, when Jason and I talked about the title for this particular installment, and Mrs. Hughes, and we decided on Coins for Love, I think that kind of set the tone for me in terms of trying to make sure that as I wrote each character, I found the love for each of them, you know, that I could clearly identify each one's passion and each one's love and each one's heart. And once you identify their heart, then you can create the right scenarios around that to make them real, and if that makes any sense. But you know, if your theme is love, you know, then you have to find it. You have to find it for every single person, because everybody's got it. It's just they experience it differently, they express it differently, they live it differently. But I think that's what makes up the full tapestry of who we are as African Americans also. you know, to accept everybody and to accept everybody's difference and everybody's passion and who everybody is and how they learn to love, you know, and why it's important and why it matters.
You did a great job of bringing that out in all the different characters, different forms of love, because love is not one-dimensional. And you brought it out in all the characters, and the characters, all the actors and actresses did a fantastic job.
Really did.
Yeah, they did. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hello. Hi, guys. So my question is for actually the actors, TC, Essence, Karan, and Stefan. So as we know that there is going to be a sequel. So do you have any ideas as to what you want your characters to do, or are you just willing to wait and see the script?
I want Madison to stop with all the games and all of these like 5,000 jobs that she's always had. I want her to just boss up for a change. I want her to stop coming home and obsessing over the coin jar and how much change she has. I want her to evolve to a place based on her hard work, you know, that we can see a transition of what happens when you're diligent, of what happens when you're disciplined. So my hope is that in the third one that, you know, you will see that her seeds have been harvested, and there's quite a lovely harvest based on her sacrifice and commitment and to her family. That's what I want. And of course I wanted to have love. You know, I think that she deserves to have healthy love, and I think her children deserve that as well. You know, I don't know who it's gonna be with. Maybe she and Hank get together. Hey! Right, exactly. We don't know.
It'd be great to see what Hank's life is like. I mean, we see him dealing in the world of being an agent, but what does it take for him to do that? What does he deal with at the office? How is he managing his difficult clients? How many difficult clients does he have? What does that do to him when he goes home? Who loving on him? You know, so all of that. But, you know, it's the turn. I see you, Essence. But it'd be just nice to see a little bit more of what his life is like. Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I was thinking about this when Susan said that there was going to be another installment, and I'm so interested to see where she goes with it. I've loved what Alec, the evolution of Alec thus far, and I would hate to put ideas into Susan's head or into her computer by saying something. The one thing I will say that is very broad is that I would like to see what it looks like to have Alec stop treating Madison like an employee and see what they, you know, have him take her somewhere to a banquet or you know, an event where they show up as a couple instead of as the employer-employee relationship. But other than that, I mean, I'm very curious as to where this one will go, and I have full trust in Susan when it comes to taking us there. So I'm going to be the one that doesn't try to put, you know, too much in it, but I would like to see the evolution of Alec and Madison.
I haven't said anything. I'm just listening. I think it's wonderful. This is so exciting.
Okay. Okay, so we'll just wait. So thank you guys so much.
Yeah, so there's definitely I was listening to all of the notes from the cast. There's definitely a lot of discussion about a third one. Nothing is official yet, but that's, you know, that's something that we're working towards. Essence, I think you might be happy without giving too much away. Stephen, I think you'll be happy. TC, that was an excellent note. Karan, we're still kind of mad at Jake, so we'll have to figure out how we're He's still my boy though, man. He's still my boy. But yeah, there's been a lot of discussion about a third, and we're excited for the opportunity, but it's not official yet. But you know, if everything, the stars align, everything is sorted out at the right time, then hopefully we can do that, and we'll be ready to get the band back together again.
All right. Well, first of all, I just wanted to say a very special thank you to the cast, Essence Atkins, Stephen Bishop, T.C. Carson, Karan Joseph Riley, to our creative team, Jamal Hill, Susan Banks, Jason Ryan, Keith Neal, and also to all the press that joined us today. And before I close, I just want to say, please tune in to TV One on Sunday, July 19th at 9 p.m. to catch Coins for Love. Thank you, everybody. We've appreciated everyone's time. Thank you.
Before you start splurging, huh? I mean, you do have a tendency to blow a good thing.
Well, speaking of a good thing, look who's on the town. Hey, Madison.
Oh,
Hey.
hey.
Come on, join us.
We would love to join you. We'll be Madison.
Just about to order dinner. Come on.
Yeah, okay.
I think we can all fit.
Thank you so much. Thank
Definitely
you.
fit.
Thank you.
And we can definitely use some fun at this table.
No, that's right.
I mean, I know I look good. I'm just
whatever.
Excuse me. I'm a handsome brother. I don't know about you. Wow, Madison. I haven't talked to you since you started your new job. How's it going?
Oh, yeah. I've been meaning to reach out. Thank you so much for those beautiful flowers. I'm sorry. It's been crazy.
Oh, no problem. You remember my cousin Rex and
Yeah, of
my
course.
business manager Hank?
Hey, Hank, it's good to see you. Oh, I don't think you ever met my best friend, Lainey. No. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Thanks for inviting us over.
Absolutely.
It's a party going on now.
Yes, sir.
We celebrating Alec's new job.
What? Congratulations. Tell me.
Well, I'm co-hosting a sports talk show on the new Game Time Network.
Wow.
Yes, sir. You know, he auditioned and they hired his old, ornery, over-opinionated butt right on the spot.
Well, call it what you want to, but apparently my old, ornery, over-opinionated butt is exactly what they were looking for. So.
That's amazing. Well, cheers. It looks like we're both starting a new adventure.
Yeah, it does.